And welcome to another episode of Tutoring Amazonians. And we'll see who's in the room, waiting for you guys to come on in. I'll check the email and we will get started. Okay. Okay, location and topic. What location are you from? And what do you need help with? Going to the Okay, looks like we're back. And it looks like we may have a better connection here. So yeah, it looks like we have a better server. Welcome to Tutoring Amazonians. We're here every week from 8 to 9 o'clock, and I'm going to check the email, see if there's any questions, and we'll get this show on the road. Give me a moment, I'm just fishing through. I'm not crazy. I'm just looking at a screen. I have another screen set up to my left here. And boom, boom, boom. Okay. Okay, first question coming in is a analogy question. Okay, and so basically how this works is when you get analogies, you have to look at the relationship between the two words that they give you. So the sentence reads, cardiologist is to heart as, and then we have 5 selections. So you got to think of the relationship between cardiologist and heart. A cardiologist is a heart doctor. All right. And so our selections are as follows. Surgeon is to general practitioner. Neurologist is to brain. Epidermis is to endocrine system. Orthodontist is to braces. And dermatologist is to podiatrist. So cardiologist is to heart is the example that they've given us. And the nearest one is neurologist is to brain. A cardiologist actually is in the business of dealing or working with the heart, like the neurologist is in the business of dealing with or working on or, or operating on the brain. Okay, you would need a neurologist to work on your brain. The ones that you would throw away. Surgeon is the general practitioner. That's really not, the surgeon doesn't work on a general practitioner. Epidermis, the endocrine system, that's like, no. The epidermis is the outer layer of your skin, and your endocrine system is, it's kind of like it carries away toxins out of your body. Orthodontist is the braces. Orthodontist uses braces to correct teeth, but teeth are the actual object that the orthodontist is working on. And then you have dermatologist to podiatrist. There's two different types of doctors. So it doesn't have that worker area relationship. So yeah, that was something different. Most of the times we get math, but yeah, I like when you guys ask different types of questions. So it's all good. It's all good. All right, let's find another one. That was interesting. See if I can't find another one. And again, you can send your questions to kienothomas@gmail.com. And send photos of questions to the email above. Okay, so moving right along. Okay, I'm getting a bad connection. At any rate, let's just press on here and see what we can get done. I hope I don't have to reconnect again. Looks like it's stable now. We'll see. So the question reads, Dr. Drake charges $36 for an office visit, which is 3/4 of what Dr. Jean charges. So how much does Dr. Jean charge? All right, Dr. Drake charges $36 for an office visit, which is 3/4 of what Dr. Jean charges. All right, so right off the top of my head, there's a way that we can do this, but I'm going to show you guys an algebraic way of doing it. Okay, using algebra, we can do lots and lots and lots of things. Okay, so we got Dr. Drake. Charges $36 for an office visit. And Dr. Jean, this is 3/4 of what Dr. Jean charges. All right, so we want to know what Dr. or Dr. Jean, if it was French, I guess, but Dr. Jean charges more. So $36 is equal to 3/4 x. All right, now, like I said, I am going to do it algebraically. Because basically, if this is 3/4 of what Dr. Jean charges, then 36 is 12, 12, and 12. And if 1, 2, 3/4, the 4th quarter would be 12. And that would actually be 48. $48. This is what Dr. Jean charges. But like I said, I'm going to do this algebraically. You know, when you're testing, sometimes you may not remember the algebraic way of doing it. So then you got to kind of use your survival skills, is what I always call it when you're testing. So we got 12. Oh, and let's give us our answers. Our answer selections are $27, $38, $48, $58, and $68. So 27, 38, 48, 57, or 68 is one of the answers. That's A through E. So, like I said, the question is telling us that Dr. Drake charges $36, 12, 12, and 12, which is 3/4 of what Dr. Jean charges. So, algebraically, what I did was I said 3/4 of X equals 36. Now, I know a lot of you guys have problems with fractions, but whenever when I see this 4 here, I don't like that 4. All right, so what I could do is I could take this whole thing and multiply each term by 4. All right, and this is the denominator here, but if I multiply each term by 4, then what happens is the 4 will go away. All right, so then we would have 36 times 4, 144. So 3x, if we multiply this by 4, this will go away. The 4 will go away, and we'll just be left with 3x. And if we multiply this by 4, we will get 144. And then what we need to do is we just need to divide that by 3. And let's do it up here. 144 divided by 3. 4, 12, 24, 8. And so we have 48. So we got the same number. So there's more than one way to skin a cat. All right. There is no, well, sometimes there is no one way of solving a problem. Sometimes there's a couple approaches that we can use. So to recap, Dr. Drake charges $36 for an office visit, which is 3/4 of what Dr. Jean charges. How much does Dr. Jean charge? Answers selections were $27, $38, $48, $57, and $68. And I showed you 2 different approaches. We can look at the 36, and they say it's 3/4 of what Dr. Dr. Jean charges. 1, 2, 3. That's 3/4 equaling 36. So we add the 4th quarter or get 48, or we could do it algebraically by saying 3/4 x equals $36, because that is the unknown. This is the unknown of what Dr. Jean charges. So if we just set 3/4 x equals 36, we will arrive at our answer, which is $48. Okay. And keep those emails coming, folks. Keep them coming. And if you don't have like a way of copying questions or something like that, you can just type them right in on the message board. Who's in the room? Who is in the room? Don't be shy. All right. Moving right along. Ooh, excuse me. All right, fishing through. Okay, nice clear photo like that. Okay. Last year, 220 people bought cars from a certain dealer. Of those, 60% reported that they were completely satisfied with their new cars. How many people reported being unsatisfied with their new car? The answers are 36, 55, 88, 132, and 155. So, this is a word problem, and I always say, and I'll say it again and again, again and again and again, we solve word problems line by line. Line by line. You diagram, you just put it all out on paper. So if you make any mistakes, it could be readily, you could just catch it early and it'd be readily apparent that you've made a mistake if we do not come up with the correct answer or the answer selection in the multiple choice questions. And I'll just go ahead and I'll write these answers out ahead of time. 36, 55, 88, 132, and 155. Okay, so I'll read it again. Last year, 220 people bought cars from a certain dealer. Of those, 60% reported that they were completely satisfied with their new cars. So we have the number of cars bought, 220, and 60% of these car owners were completely happy with the car they bought. All right, so we want to know how many were unsatisfied. So 60% of the purchasers were satisfied. That means 40% were not, because we have 100%. You can only have 100% of something. So 60% were happy, 40%. Now what I could do this a couple ways, but I'm going to do this very simple. 220 times 0.4. 0.4 is equal to 40%. All right. This is the decimal form of 40%. This is 40%, the percentage form. But if I multiply 220 by 0.4, then it is going to yield a number. Now, when we calculate our answer, we're going to have to come in one decimal point. So what I'm going to do for rapid math, I'm going to look at this 2 and this 4. This 2 and this 4 is going to be 2 times 4 is 8. So I can guarantee you that the 8 is going to be the last digit in my answer. I'm really done with the question at this point for test taking purposes because I want to solve problems as fast as possible. But this last digit of this problem is going to have an 8. We have a 0 when we multiply here, but we have an 8 when we multiply here, and we're going to have to come in a decimal point. So let's prove my point. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 2 is 8, and 4 times 2 is 8 again. We have one decimal point. We come in, and the number of people that were unsatisfied with their cars, 88, just like I predicted. So this is a very, very, very good skill to have, okay, when you're taking tests and examinations or quizzes or whatever, just calculating math. You want to be able to do it rapidly. And you could see how I just did that. I called 88 before I even calculated the question. So really, like in about 10, 15 seconds, I would have been done with that question and moving on. So make sure you play that back and get this, because here we give you the best test taking tips. Okay. So you guys have like a lot of issues with word problems, and word problems are really not that bad. It's just the setup that we have issues with. Just the setup is the problem. So, let's see here. Another word problem. A recipe serves 4 people and calls for 1 1/2 cups of soup. If you want to serve 6 people, how much broth do you need? Okay, so whatever recipe that we're serving takes 1 1/2 cups to serve 4 people. So what I'm gonna do is make a proportion, and it looks like a fraction. Broth needed over number of people. All right, so that is my proportion that I'm setting up. And basically it says we need 1 1/2 cups, or we could say 1.5 will feed 4 people. And the question is asking how many will we need to serve 6 people? How much broth will we need to sit? How many cups of broth will we need to serve 6 people? Well, broth needed over people. So this recipe is 1 1/2 cups of broth will serve 4 people. If you see the relationship that I just set up. So we want to know how much broth is needed to serve 6 people. Now, when we set this up, all we need to do is cross multiply and then divide by 4. So it'll be 6 times 1.5 divided by 4. And let's go ahead and get our answers up on the board. All right. Looks like we have 2 cups, 2 1/4, 2 1/3, 2 1/2, and 2 3/4. They really tighten these up. All right. So we got 2, 2 1/4, 2 1/3, 2 1/2, and 2 3/4. Now, what they've done is they've really tightened these numbers up. Let me just check. 1/4, 1/3, 1/2, 3/4. 1/4. That wasn't a half. It was a 1/4. 2 1/4. So 2 cups, 2 1/4 halves. Now, A, B, C, D, E. All right. So now let's take a look. We're going to multiply 6 times 1.5. This is what we call cross multiplication. So I'll put the 1.5 up top, 6, and we will get 9. And then what we'll do is we'll divide that by 4. I'm thinking out loud. 4 1/2. 2 1/4. All right, so it'll be B. All right. Now, I know I did that in my head, and you guys don't do it in your head. I do a lot of math, so I could do that. But what you would do is you would cross multiply this and then divide by 4. So 4 or 9 will be divided by 4. 9.0. 4 goes into 9 2 times. We get an 8. 1, we drop to 0, 10. 4 goes 2. We get another 8. And then we would get a 2 here. We would drop a 0, and then we would finish off. So it would be 2.25, or in fractional form, 2 1/4. 1/4 and 0.25 are basically the same thing. All right. So that was good. That was good. And you didn't leave a name, but, you know, that was a good question. Okay. Oh, wow. Let's see here. All right. Oh, wow. Oh, man. Okay. This is one of my favorite questions because I tell you guys all the time, you have to recognize the 3, 4, 5. Now, this is in a word problem form, but I talk about the 3, 4, 5 triangle all the time. And Dave from Greensboro. All right, Dave from Greensboro. I'm going to type this in. All right. Wish I could, hold on, I might be able to. I might be able to. Hold on, folks. Peace. Yeah, there we go. Bang. There it is. Okay, so Fort Greenville is 120 miles west and 90 miles north of Fort Johnson. How long is a direct straight line route from Fort Greenville to Johnson City? All right, I see a 3, 4, 5 triangle. If you can see the 3, 4, 5 triangle, type it in. I'll give you guys a second. I know that there is a time delay. All right, so, all right. So the 3, 4, 5 triangle, I talk about this triangle all the time. I can make 1,000 questions off the 3, 4, 5 triangle. So we process this line by line or section by section. So they're saying Fort Greenville is 120 miles west and 90 miles north of Fort Johnson. So Fort Johnson is the, put Fort Johnson. All right. It is 120 miles west and 90 miles north. Okay, so we're talking about Fort Greenville, all right, which would be right here. So we are 120 miles west and then 90 miles north. That's what that means. So we read the sentence, we diagram. We read the sentence, we diagram. This is how you handle word problems. All right. When you tend to read the sentence or the section and then diagram, you tend to keep yourself out of trouble. And so, like I said, and like I typed in on the message board, Fort Greenville is 120 miles west and 90 miles north. So if that is the case, then we have a right angle here, 90 degrees, and they want to know the straight line distance. Now, you could use the Pythagorean theorem, but you're going to waste, I mean, if you're doing this in the interest of time, you're just going to be, you know, burning up time that you could be using to solve other questions. And see, that's the thing about test taking. If it's like a paper test, then, you know, you just move on. You know, answer as many questions as you can. If you don't know this one, or you may have to, you know, do the Pythagorean theorem, then, you know, you would do that. But inside this triangle, I see a 3, 4, 5. Now, what do I mean by 3, 4, 5? This is a variation of 3, 4, and 5. And I talk about this triangle all the time. If two sides, oh, let me make my right triangle. I'd be remiss if I didn't do that. So if two sides of a right triangle are 3 and 4, the hypotenuse, and the hypotenuse is the longest side of the triangle. The hypotenuse is, like I said, the longest side of the triangle, and it's going to be equal to 5. Okay, so one side 3, one side 4, the hypotenuse is going to be 5. Now you're saying, well, I don't see a 3, 4, 5, Kino. Well, these are variations of 3 and 4, or multiples. What do I mean by that? Okay, if I took our base numbers here and I multiplied them both by 30, 90 is 3 times 30, and 120 is 4 times 30. So here's our 3, and here's our 4. So this is going to be 5 times 30. Which is 150. So Fort Greenville, which is up here, I'll just put FG for Fort Greenville, is 150 miles away from Fort Johnson. Given the information that the test told us, they said that Fort Greenville is 120 miles west and 90 miles north. I identified the 3, 4, 5 triangle, and automatically this is 5 times 30, 150 miles. So now, what if you had to use the Pythagorean theorem? Okay, we could do it that way too. All right, we got 120 miles west And I'm going to have to get rid of this. You guys can, this is DVR, so basically this is Fort Johnson and this is Fort Greenville. 120, 90, and unknown is C. All right. The Pythagorean theorem states that a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Now, this is the long way of doing it, but so I'll show you my 3, 4, 5 method. I've just showed you. Now I'm going to show you the long way of doing it. All right. So this will be A, and this will be B, and this will be C. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. A squared is 90 squared plus b squared, which is 120 squared, equals c squared. Okay, I'll let that marinate. What we are doing is we're taking our a and we're taking our b and we're squaring them. So on the side, I'm going to have to multiply 90, and let's show you some rapid math. 90 times 90, that's what 90 squared means. But am I going to do all this math? No, I'm going to multiply 9 times 9, which is 81, then add the 2 zeros. Same thing with the 120. 120 times 120. It is 12 times 12 is 144, then add the 2 zeros. Okay, now it's going to get a little involved, and that's all right. So that means that 8,100 squared plus 14,400, no, not 8,100, that's 90 squared, times, plus 120 squared, which is 14,400, equals c squared. So let's plug in our numbers. 8,100 plus 14,400. Let's put our commas in there. All right, equals c squared. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to add 14,400 and 8,100. 0, 0, 5, 12, 225, 0, 0. So 22500 equals c squared. Now, we are defining c, not c squared. So how we simplify that is we take the square or the exponent away, and then we put a square root symbol over this. Now, you're looking at me like, wow, Kino, that's crazy. I just happen to know, and you look at 225, right? And I already know that 15 times 15 is 225. 15 times 15, 25. Actually, the reason why I know that, check this out. Whenever you have a 5 on the end and it's being squared, the last 2 digits are going to be 25. And then 1 times the next number when you count, which is the next consecutive number. 1 times 2 is 2. So 225 is the answer. And check out my video on exponents if you need help learning how to calculate that rapidly. So if we add a 0, then that'd be like 15, 150 and 150, 225, which is 15 times 15, and then add the 2 zeros. And that equals the 22,500. So C is equal to 150. All right, so you could use the 3, 4, 5 method in that case, or you could, I would recommend the 3, 4, 5. You can see that this is very involved and you have to do a lot. I would just stick to the 3, 4, 5 method, which that's the 3 portion, this is the 4 portion, and 5 times. So this is 3 times 30 and 4 times 30. So this is going to be 5 times 30. All right. But I like it. When I say 3, 4, 5, I'll be like, got you. Okay. So now, moving right along, checking the email and looking for something interesting, man. Y'all send something interesting. Not just the old run-of-the-mill. Ready on E. Okay. Okay, this is kind of interesting. Not really interesting, but someone wants to know. They don't want me to say their name. Yeah. I'll answer that in a minute, MEC. Give me a second here as I work this question out. What is the decimal equivalent of 1/6 rounded to the nearest thousandth? Okay, now you're going to have to understand decimal positions in order to properly answer this question. All right, so when we look at decimal places, let's say I said there's a number 123.456. Well, there are places, all right, that each one of these digits fall into, and note the decimal position. All right, so this is the hundreds place because this is 100, so it's the hundreds place. This is the tens place, and this is the ones. Did I say tens? Tens place, ones place. These reside on this side of the decimal. But then when we get to this, we have the tenths, TENTHS, tenths. This is the hundredths with a TH on the side. Hundredths. And then this is the thousandths. I'll just put that. Thousandths. TH. So we have the hundreds place, tens place, ones place. We have the tenths. So notice the THS on the end. Tenths, hundredths, thousandths is the sixth position. All right. So, what is the decimal equivalent of 1/6 rounded to the nearest thousandths? So that would be this digit. All right. So we would have to go 3 past the decimal point. All right. Now, 1/6. 1/6. This is a good opportunity as well to show you how to convert a fraction to a decimal. Because a lot of you haven't done math in a while, and, you know, so 1/6. How I do this is we have our division bracket, and I say that the top or the numerator falls under the house. So the 6 stays on the outside, and then we have 1.000 if need be. Now 6 cannot go into 1, so we put a 0 up there, and we raise our decimal because we need that in our answer. But 6 can go into 10 one time. So we have 1, we drop a 6, boom, boom, boom. So 10 minus 6 is 4. We drop a 0, 40. And 6 times 6 is 36. We get a 4, drop a 0. And this is going to go on perpetually because you throw another 6, 36. and you're going to get 4 again. You just wind up dropping to 0. We do this, so this is a repeating decimal. Now, they want us to round to the nearest thousandths. So the next digit would be 6. So if we round up to the thousandths, this is going to be 0.167. All right. If we round to the nearest thousandths, okay. And that is answer D. All right. So we've rounded this to the nearest thousandths. This is the decimal form of the fraction 1/6. All right. And Emily, see, to answer your question, Amazon has a career choice program, and if you work for Amazon, they actually offer like training opportunities or school opportunities where they provide like a scholarship type of system situation in order for them to go back to school, learn a trade, or something like that. So what I do is, that's what this hour is dedicated to. It's actually dedicated to Amazonians, but anybody that tutors with me or visits my live streams, they're welcome to come in here and offer questions as well. So that's what an Amazonian is. All right, and that's who this hour is dedicated to. After this hour, the military aptitude test guys, 9 to 10. But every Friday, I'm here for the Amazon side of things, and I'm here for the military aptitude test side of things. And then an hour to that is dedicated to any of my clients, and they actually have the opportunity to do like a kind of like a face-to-face talk instead of like a live stream like this, where you just kind of send me questions and listen to me talk. Okay, so that's answered. And MEC, feel free to submit questions. I try. I appreciate you appreciating what I do. You know, I'm here every week. So, you know, the point of this is, you know, and this is to the Amazonians. If you're Amazonian and you have a child and, oh, Mom, I'm struggling with geometry, or I'm struggling with algebra or whatever, fractions, basic math, it doesn't matter. Okay? You don't have to fail. You know? And for all the Amazonians, even if you're working, you can still email me questions and I'll just do them. This is going to be, this is recorded, it's DVR'd. And, you know, even if you do have to work, if your shift is during the time of the live stream, you can still submit questions and I'll still answer them. And then when you get off, you can, boop, just click on the video and you can watch me execute the question that you're having a problem with. All right, moving right along. I see nothing on the message board, so I'll go to the next question. All right. Okay. All right. All right, fractions. A lot of people don't like them. Now, I do have a rapid way of working with the two fractions, and I could apply it here. But I am just going to go ahead and do this the old-fashioned way. This is a fraction and a fraction problem, and it's 1/6 plus 7/12, 1/6 plus 7/12 plus 2/3. Oh, yeah. All right, 2/3. Now, in this case, what I'm going to do is it'd just be simpler for me to convert everything into twelfths. Because 12 is the lowest common denominator. If we look at all the denominators, 12 is the lowest common one. But when we do that, we have to look at the 6. Whatever we do to the bottom, we're going to have to do to the top. So if we transform the 6 into 12, then how do we do that? We do that by multiplying by 2. So we multiply the numerator by 2. So in order to change this to 12, 6 times 2 is 12, and 1 times 2 is 2. So 2 twelfths plus 7 twelfths plus the 2/3. We're going to transform this into the common denominator, 12. So how do we get from 3 to 12? We multiply by 4. Whatever we do to the bottom, we have to do to the top. So 4 times 2 is 8. Once we have all common denominators, then all we need to do is just add across. All right. Now, we have 7 plus, and we're looking at the top parts because they're all 12s. So they're kind of like all in the same family. So 2 plus 7 is 9. 9 plus 8 is 17. So this could be 17 over 12, but that's an improper fraction because the numerator is bigger than the denominator. Or we could have 1 and 5 twelfths, which is a mixed number. How do we get that? This is just representative of 12 times 1, which is 12, plus 5 equals 17. All right, so it could be 17 over 12, or you could have 1 and 5 twelfths. These are the same thing. They're just different versions. Or this is 7 twelfths as an improper fraction. This is 7 twelfths as a mixed number. All right. Okay. Keep those emails coming in, looking for something interesting. All right. All right. I sound like Kevin Hart. All right. I'm really not that big of a Kevin Hart fan. He's all right. Okay. Jane, what is 3/8 equal to? What is 3/8 equal to? Again, so they have decimals there. I'm not even going to read them all out. I'm just going to execute it. And what is 3/8 equal to in decimal form? Again, when we're converting a fraction to a decimal, we have the 3 over 8, and then we write our division bracket. The 3 falls under the house. 8 stays outside, and we put a decimal here, a decimal up there for an answer. And then we'll just add a couple zeros just to see how far it goes out. All right, so 8 cannot go into 3. Drop a 0. 8 can go into 30. How many times? 3 times, because 8 times 3 is 24. All right, and then we subtract that. We have 6. 8 can go into, and we have to, like we dropped a 0 here, we drop a 0 here. All right, and 8 can go into 67 times. All right, and we'll have 56. Subtract that, we get 4. We add a 0. We drop a 0. 8 can go into 45 times. All right, 40, boop, boop, and then boom, 0. That means we're done. So the decimal form of 3/8 is 0.375. All right, Jane. Okay. All right, so I did another one earlier. So, all right. Okay, yeah, there's a tough one there. Well, I won't say it's tough, but if you don't do math a lot, it can be tough. I see two interesting. I see an interesting question, and then I see one that you probably haven't had one. All right, Peter. This is from Peter. Another way to write 4 times 4 times 4 is just 4 cubed, or 4 raised to the 3rd power. So it will be a 4 with an exponent. All right, so they're saying another way to write 4 times 4 times 4, we just say 4 cubed or 4 raised to the third power. This equals this. And it's 64. 4 times 4 is 16. Times another 4 is 64. Or 4 cubed is 64. They both mean the same thing. So in mathematics, there are different ways of expressing things mathematically in a sentence. Mouth getting dry. Gatorade. Man, we ain't on here to watch you drink Gatorade. Do some math, Keno. All right, and looks like we're coming up on our hour, so I'll do this. This will be the last one. And if you do have other math questions, you can meet me on my military aptitude test prep and military and Federal Aviation Administration test prep. If you have math problems, I'll be more than happy to do them. Just keep coming in, and then whatever we don't hit, we'll cover next week. How many inches are there in 3 1/3 yards? Woo! How many inches are there in 3 1/3 yards? All right. And I'll even write the answers down. 126, 120, 160, 168. 126, 120, 160, 168, and 313. All right. All right. How many inches are 3 1/3 yards? So let's look at 3 1/3 yards. First of all, we have to look at our relationship between inches and yards. Okay, so how do we got an inch, 1 inch, and 12 inches equals 1 foot. And 1 foot is equal to 3 yards. All right, so in 3 1/3 yards, we got to be careful with that. Got to read these word problems because they will get you. So how many inches are in 3 1/3 yards? I'll put a question mark and IN, the abbreviation for inches. Okay, so what I would do is, there's a couple ways I could do this. I could do this algebraically, but I'm going to do this in survival mode, which means I'm just going to look at the brass or the most basic elements of everything. So when I look at this, 3 1/3 yards, there are 3 feet. All right, 1 foot. 1 yard, 12 inches. This was not good. All right. All right. So 3 feet equals 1 yard YD. All right. 3 feet and 1 yard. All right. So we have 12 inches in a foot, 3 feet in a yard. So if we have 3 feet in a yard, that means 1/3 is 1 foot, 12 inches. So we just put 12 inches on the side here. That represents the 1/3. Now let's look at the 3 yards part of this. 3 yards would actually be 9 feet, because if 1 yard is 3 feet, 3 yards multiplied by 3, multiply that by 3, is 9 feet. So 3 yards, 9 feet, did I say? 3, yep, 9 feet. Now, we have 12 inches in a foot, so we're going to multiply this by 12, and we will get 18, 108. Then we'll add the 1/3, the 12 inches, and we get 0, carry the 1, 2, 120 inches are in 3 1/3 yards. And that question came from, who did that come from? That was interesting. All right, that came from Jeff. All right, Jeff, so thanks, man. You guys aren't putting what fulfillment centers you guys are from. but that's okay. I will still do the math. Okay, so basically that's our hour. I would like to thank you guys for joining me here. If you do have more math questions, you can meet me at my next live stream, which primarily is dedicated to military aptitude testing and Federal Aviation Administration testing. All right, so that is it. I'm Kino with Tutoring Amazonians, and all you Amazonians out there in the career choice program that have not done math in a while. Okay, I'm here for you. Doesn't cost you a thing. Don't cost you nothing. Just send me questions. I will explain them to you. Also, if you have family members, my son, he's doing terrible at math. My daughter, she doesn't understand what her teacher is teaching her. They don't have to fail. Every week, Friday nights, 8 to 9. And everybody that showed up, I appreciate you being here. You could have been anywhere, but you're here with me. So I'm closing this out. You can meet me, and I'm probably have a couple clients in here that are my military aptitude people. Lord of Flies, that's a new tag. Okay, I welcome you. And I will see you here next week at 8 to 9. So all my military aptitude test prep guys and Federal Aviation Administration test prep guys, they're waiting for me. So I have to close this out. So thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later. Have a great day or night. Bye-bye. Bang.